UN Special Rapporteur Ben Emmerson concluded his visit to Sri Lanka today. The purpose of the visit was to assess the progress Sri Lanka has achieved in its law, policies and practice in the fight against terrorism since the end of the internal armed conflict. Emmerson presented his preliminary findings at a press conference in Colombo this afternoon.
I would like to commend the transparency and the largely courteous, constructive and cooperative way in which the government initiated and facilitated this official visit, which allowed a frank and open dialogue. 2 years on, and already 4 months into a 2-year extension granted to the government by the Human Rights Council, progress in achieving the key goals set out in the resolution is not only slow, but seems to have ground to a virtual halt. None of the measures so far adopted to fulfil Sri Lanka's transitional justice commitments are adequate to ensure real progress. I was given a personal assurance by the Prime Minister that once the current process of counter-terrorism reform has been completed, the government will pass legislation paving the way for a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to be established, and will set up an office of the Special Prosecutor to bring criminal charges against those involved in the most serious atrocities committed by both sides of the armed conflict. These are, of course, steps which the government had already promised to the international community that it would have delivered in full by now. It is fair to say that there are some very slight indications of positive movement in this direction.
On the front page of the Island today, the paper reports Justice Minister Dr. Vijayadasa Rajapaksa had a heated argument with visiting UN Special Rapporteur Ben Emmerson QC during a visit to the Justice Ministry earlier this week. Quoting well-informed sources, the Island reports that Minister Vijayadasa Rajapaksa strongly questioned the UN official, resulting in an unprecedented fiery argument. Emmerson had been somewhat taken back by Dr. Rajapaksa's outburst and warned Minister Rajapaksa that he would publicly announce the latter's refusal to cooperate with the UN. At today's briefing, the UN Special Rapporteur Ben Emmerson refused to comment on the meeting.
Correct. It's not my policy to comment on confidential discussion. Don't worry, I make give very careful consideration to which parts of which meetings can properly be made public. And in doing so, I ensure that my interlocutors are aware that I will be making public what they say. Beyond that, it is not my policy to comment on private meetings that have taken place during the course of the mission.